Well, welcome to Mod 3. Finally done with Mod 1 and 2. Now we're going to have to keep looking at those because we're going to have a test at the end of the year, which we have to know all the standards. So we're going to keep going back and addressing those. But in Mod 3, Lesson 3, it says add fractions. Now, that's the way I used to think when I was your age. Fractions are easy. Come on. By the time you're done with this lesson, you're going to think they're the easiest thing since sliced bread. All right? So the lesson objective here says add fractions with unlike units using the strategy of creating equivalent fractions, including sums between 1 and 2. Okay? So we're going to use a visual model in order to make some equivalent fractions, and then we're going to add them together. So essential question, and you need to be thinking of this as we're going through the lesson because you're going to have to answer this at the end of this video. How can I use equivalent fractions, equivalent meaning equal, to add fractions with the unlike denominators? Now, this here, I need to know what a denominator is in order to be able to answer this essential question. So if I had a fraction, let's say 1/2, I always remember it by NOD. And NOD means numerator here over denominator here. Okay, so that's an easy way to sit there and remember it. So when we have unlike denominators, which is the bottom number, how do we add those? Let's take this for instance. If I had one adult plus 3 more adults, what would I have? Hopefully you said 4 adults. That just makes sense. Because we have 1 and we're classification as adult plus 3 in the classification of adults. They're the same, so I can just add them together. Same thing if I have here. If I have 1/5 plus 3/5, I'd obviously get 4/5. Now the way that would look in a fraction, I'd have 1/5 plus 3/5, and it would be 4/5. We add our numerators, and our denominator stays the same. Let's say we had a pi, okay? And I'm going to try to split this up into 5 equal parts. It's going to be close, but there's 5 parts. Now, if I were to add those, let's get a different color so we can see it. Let's say this here is 1/5 right there. And I wanted to add 3 more fifths. There's 1, 2, and 3. I can see when I added them up, I would get 4/5. Now, what if it changes now? I have 1 adult plus 3 adults. I can't add those together because they're different classifications. I have a child and an adult. I can't say half of an adult because I don't know, maybe it's a baby. You know, it's a real small one. Could be a quarter adult. I don't know. So I can't add those together. So what if I changed the classification of what I was calling it, though? What if I called them people instead? If I had 1 people, which we'd call a person, but yeah, we're in math, so we're not worried about that. Okay, 1 people plus 3 people would give us 4 people. Okay, so we were able to add those, and the reason we were able to add those is because we changed the classification. Now, let's see how we can apply this. Notice we have 1/2 plus 1/4. Oh, they have different classifications or denominators as we're talking about fractions. Now look at this model. The model right here is modeling 1/2, and I have it, half of it shaded in blue. The model to the right is 1/4, and it's shaded blue. Now if you notice, the 1/2 is split up vertically, the 1/4 is split up horizontally, and that's for a reason to help us out. Now, in order to add these, I need to have these denominators the same. So what we're going to do is on my half, now I'm going to split this up into quarters. And basically, I'm just taking the lines from my other model, and I'm bringing them straight across. Now, my one was a quarter, I'm going to split it in half. Now, if I count up how many I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 that are blue out of a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I can go 2 times 4 for an array, and I've got 8. So I know 1/2 is equivalent to 4/8. Now I want to add on this side, I have 2 blue ones out of a total of 2 times 4 is 8. Look there, now we have equivalent fractions. Okay, we have equivalent fractions with common denominators, so we can add them up. When we add them up, we know this is 8 because it stays the same. 4 plus 2 is 6. So we know 1/2 plus 1/4 equals 6/8. Let's try this again. Now this one is modeling 1/2 plus 1/3. Now, what do you think we ought to do first? And you can do this on paper if you want, as we're going through the lesson on just a piece of scratch paper. Okay, I think I heard someone say it. We have to take our thirds and we're going to move them over to our halves. Now, what are we going to do? Ah, you're right. So I had my halves, so I'm going to go ahead and split it up over here to my thirds. Now we can count them up. So how many blue do we have? 3. Out of a total 6. Okay. Now on this one, we have a total of 2, and it's not a total of 2. I'm sorry, 2 blue and a total of 6. So when we add these together, we got 5, 6. So we can see up here that 1/2 plus 1/3 will equal 5, 6. Okay, I'm going to give you a second to try to add this one together. Okay, so if you want to, go ahead and pause the video for a second and work it out. When you're done, go ahead and start it up again. Okay, I assume you're done. So I know this where was 2/3 on this side. This is 1/4. So I'm going to bring my quarters over to my other model. And on here, I'm going to split it up into thirds. Okay. Now, when we look at this one, we can see we have 2, 4, 6, 8 blue out of a total of 12. On our second equivalent fraction, we have 3 blue out of a total of 12, which gives us 11/12. So we know 2/3 plus 1/4 would be 11/12. Okay, now I want you to go ahead and pause this video and try working it out yourself, and then when you're done with it, go ahead and turn it back on. Please work them out on paper. Don't try to do them in your head, because when you do them in our head, we sit there and we get confused sometimes, and then we don't get to see our actual mistakes. Okay, so go ahead and pause it, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. All right, let's try this now. So we can see we have a model here, and our model is 2/5 on this side and 2/3 over here. Now when I go ahead, first thing we have to do is we're taking our 2/3 over, split it up into thirds, and on our thirds we have to split this one up into fifths. There's 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4 and 5/5. Okay, not exactly straight, but you know, we're working it here. Okay. All right, so now let's see what our actual fractions were. We have 2, 4, 6, so we have a total of 6. And I know it's an array, so 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to be 15. On this side, I end up with blue. I got 2 by 5, so that's going to be 10/15. So we end up with 16/15. So we know 2/5 plus 2/3 equals 16/15. And I know some of you are going to say, that's an improper fraction. There's no such thing as an improper fraction, okay? It's a fraction that's greater than 1. And we're not going to worry about converting that right now. 16/15 is a good answer, okay? So we're not going to convert it any further. So 16/15, good job. Where is it? There it is. Okay, good job. All right, let's try the next one. Okay, we're at the final question for this concept, okay? So let's try this, see if we can do this. And I hope you're working them out on paper, because if you do them in your mind, you never have something to go back and review. And fractions are very easy, but they're very easy to make simple mistakes because you're using basic math facts for almost everything, okay? So please draw them out. So I want you to go ahead and work out this problem, and when you get done with it, come back and see me, okay? And then we'll go over it together, all right? All right. Oh, you're back. Okay, hold on. You were quick. Okay, here we go. All right, let's try this. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring our thirds over to our sevenths. Now we're going to take our sevenths over to our thirds. Now, I don't know about you, I have a hard time with this. I should have made it a little bigger. We're going to work with it, okay? So here's my ones. Oh, that's a skinny one. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, I'm proud of myself. I got all 7 of them in there. That's awesome. Let's check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Awesome. So we know this started out as our 2/7. This started out as our 2/3. Now I'm counting up how many blues I got, and I can see I got 6. And it's 3 times 7. That's going to be 21. Now over here, I can say I got 2 by 7, so it's going to be 14. And we have 3 by 7 again, which is 21, giving us our common denominators again. Now when we add these up, we end up with 20 21s. So we know 2/7 plus 2/3 is 20 21s. Okay? All right. Well, now I want you to go back and think about that exit ticket. Do your response. If you have any questions or concerns about the lessons, you're come in ready to talk about them in the morning, because we'll always turn talk about what was looked at the night before. And then we'll get into our activities, okay? All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.